everyone. Welcome to the Dog Days of Summer CU podcast for Tuesday, July 30th, 2019, alongside recording producer Ian Ferguson. I'm Pat Contry. We got lots of fun stuff to talk about. Lots of Q&A. We'll talk about the Fortnite tournament results as the official PUBG gaming, modern gaming Fortnite podcast.
Battle Royale
podcast.
Battle Royale podcast.
PUBG modern gaming. Talking about Doom with DRM. That's always fun. We'll be talking about discussion about NES values, blah, blah, blah. Q&A. It's a fun time. It's kind of a loosey-goosey podcast. First off, I will be at Missouri Game Con this weekend, August 3rd. That's going to be fun. I'll be there with Norm, the gaming historian, and friends. Go to mogamecon.com for more information. That's outside, about 20 minutes outside St. Louis. Oh, Ghost Phone's starting. That's always good. Please don't be an embarrassing voicemail.
So this is Barbara Andrews, and I'm calling in reference to your federal student loan.
I don't have a student loan. Now I'm pissed. So this is what happens now. I get calls twice a week, 3 times a week, and that's not a real person. That's a robocall.
I'm aware.
And the one time I talked to someone for real, it was a call center in, I don't know, India, Pakistan. It was not in this continent. That's still fake, by the way, that call. She like pretends to be all tripping. So I talked to this person on the phone who insisted I had a student loan still. They were adamant. And I said, please take me off your list. I do not have a student loan. I paid my student loans off probably by 26 or so. They were paid off, like 12, 13 years ago. And she's like, and the person was like, oh no, you have student loans. I was like, oh, okay. I haven't got anything in the mail. I think I would have heard about it by now. They would have garnished my wages. So there's so many robocalls now you get, more so even on cell phones. But there are apps to help. I'm going to do a cheap plug, and this isn't paid. There's an app it's already cut down on my calls on my cell. What is it called? Sorry, we're going off in a weird direction here. But these calls suck, and they're getting worse. And the do not call.gov thing does not work for this. So the app is called Call Protect, and I've downloaded it like within the past week. I have way less. They like pre-screen the numbers. There's like a bunch of numbers that they're saying they identify these numbers as bullshit numbers. So they screen them before they get to you. I don't know how it works. It's like magnetism, but I've gotten less so far. And it's like a 4-star rating in the App Store. Anyway, speaking of apps, because a couple people harassed me about the NES app. It's getting totally revamped. I don't want to talk about it until it's done, but that's why you haven't heard anything. The last developer, besides owing me over $3,000, totally dropped the project. And we'll talk about him soon enough in more detail. But it's getting totally redone from scratch.
Begin with a J?
It begins with the J, his name, and it ends with Eri. So that's when we're talking about him.
The little mouse.
The little mouse. The little mouse screwed Pat in the poocher.
Jerry was, when you're a kid, you don't know the dichotomy between the
Tom
two
and Jerry?
of them, but
Now it's Pat and Jerry.
it's like 50-50 on the show, but Jerry was really a jerk.
Sometimes Tom just wanted to relax and hang out. He didn't always want to just...
Tom's just being a cat.
Yes.
Tom's doing what he needs to do.
Sometimes he's just doing nothing. Sometimes he gets angry and rambunctious like cats do. I like the ones where they were friends. I did. I didn't want to see Tom get his ass kicked all the time. Like, they were funny, though.
Yeah.
The original ones from like the early 50s.
Yeah, I've got a
late 40s,
DVD
early
of them.
50s.
I think I've got like 35 episodes.
So for the first like 5 years, he got his ass kicked. They became friends. And then they fought like the dog or whatever. The dog would always kick the shit out of Tom as well. I'm sorry. Anyway, so what was I saying? Robocalls and Tom and Jerry and my app. Speaking of that, the book, Super Nintendo book, is like 97.9% finished. So that'll be done and going to print hopefully in a week or so and get it out of my life. Then I become more of a gamer again.
Speaking of gamers, do you want to talk about the EON N64 HDMI adapter?
Fine. We'll do that. We'll get back to the gamer stuff.
So
EON sent us the N64 HDMI adapter.
Yes, we were sent an EON N64 HDMI adapter review unit, and I took it home and tested it, put it through its paces. Couple things to say. I'll start.
Well, it upscales to what? 720p?
I believe it's 480.
Is it 480?
But let's double check that.
Okay, you go on. I'll check. You talk.
I'll go with the good first. It's very easy to use. You plug it in, add the HDMI cable onto the back, and you're off and going. It's simple. There's really no fussing with it. and it does. It clears up the picture.
It is 480p.
Okay, yeah.
Zero lag image.
480p.
Okay.
So it really crisps up the image and makes it look less like a Vaseline blob on your TV, which is the ideal end result of these things, is to clear it up.
So according to this, it actually it brings the S video out and scales it. That's what it does. Okay. So that's going to be the cleanest image. Okay.
So in that regards, it works fantastic. It also has a button on the side that will, if you press the button on the side of the adapter, it'll apply
Slick mode.
It'll apply a filter.
Slick mode, it's called.
To its credit, I have to say this. I've never liked the way filters look on anything that's doing, upscaling. I don't like filters on, the FrameMeister. When, video games get re-released and put out like old ones, there's usually all sorts of filters you can put over them. Mm-hmm. Haven't liked those. The filter on the EON N64 adapter, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just the system it's being used on. It could be, but that filter, that slick mode, actually looks really nice.
It just unjaggies the edges, right?
Right. And like I said, normally when that is attempted, I really dislike it, but it works wonderfully on the N64 adapter. I played Pokemon Snap on it. I played WWE No Mercy on it, and Pokemon Snap. It looked great. It really sharpened up the text and the critters. I can imagine that game would be very hard to play without some sort of HDMI solution or using it on a CRT TV. WWE No Mercy was sharper and cleaner.
That is Stone Cold's bald head look.
The thing is, I don't know that you necessarily want to see those models cleaner.
Sure. Which is the problem with N64 in general.
Yes, and it leads me to my next statement. There's only so much you can really do to clean up the N64. You're not going to see that. You're not going to get the level of upgrade from the N64 adapter that you would have gotten, say, from their GameCube adapter.
Sure.
So, I think people should know that going in if they don't know anything about the technical side of it. It's not going to suddenly make your N64 look amazing, but it is going to make it look good on the TV. Mm-hmm. But now, I have to mention that we're entering an era with EON where other companies are starting to do comparable products. And you have things like the RetroTink. You have the HDMI cables coming out, I believe, from Hyperkin.
Hyperkin and Pound Tech started them, then Hyperkin started them.
So
you have others, the OSS you told me about.
Yes, the OSSC.
OSSC.
Yeah,
and you have mod kits, board kits. You can just internally mod your system.
I think the board kit will probably go the way of the Dodo at this point.
Yeah, we'll talk about it in a second what Metal Jesus did, but yeah.
So I mean that's really where I'm going. This is more convenient and less hassle than a board mod. Now, I haven't had a chance to run a 64 through a RetroTink, but is it really that much better between the EON and the RetroTink and other? And I have to admit here, I have to pull from other places because I didn't have everything to test it from. It appears that between the RetroTink and the EON adapter, that they're pretty similar. And I'd say it, the RetroTink is a cheaper device,
and it's for every console.
Yeah, you can use it for most
component
any console.
And composite.
Yeah,
that's most retro gaming consoles.
So you can use it for those. We get to the point where the GameCube adapter came out at a time where that wasn't a super common thing. Also, and so people bought it. It was plug and play. It was easy. But as we move on and as more companies start to release this sort of stuff, EON, I think, is in danger of maybe losing that Cadillac designation.
Well, it's not.
I don't think you can get 150 for this.
It's not a novelty anymore when 3 or 4 different companies put out the same product.
Right.
So even if they were first to market with the GameCube one, what was that at this point? A year and a half ago. That came out a year and a half ago.
Yeah, I guess
Something like that. With the GameCube one, Other companies follow suit. In the Pound Tech cables, there's now 4 or 5 different ones. Hyperkin is putting out their versions, which are probably somewhat similar. There's only so many ways you can put out the same product. So like when I saw Metal G's video and he compared, he did a great job comparing 4 things: the Ultra HDMI upgrade kit, which is a board kit, and obviously that's the best one. Like that upgrades to 1080p total. It looks gorgeous. It looks great. Then he did the Retro Tink, which is, like you said, the all-in-one one, the EON one, and then the Hyperkin cheap cables for like $30-$40. And obviously the Hyperkin ones look the worst. The colors are off, but it's only $30. You get what you pay for. The Retro Tink, which is $100, which is a device I didn't know existed before, looked to me exactly the same. I was really trying to see the difference between that and the $150 EON one. So now you have, and like you said, the OSSC device, which is probably a better version of something the Retro Tink does, correct? It's a little bit pricier.
I don't know, but it's another one of those,
yes. Like, just HDMI converters, analog to HDMI converters. You have so many different companies doing this that there's so much competition in the marketplace that prices come down. And unless you really want a reason to buy an adapter for each individual device, at the end of the day, you'll be spending potentially several $100s to do that versus just buying one device for $100 to do something very similar.
Right.
So to me, that's where we're at in the marketplace with this. I think $150 to do one device, while it could have been kitschy and cute originally, by the third or fourth product, how many people are willing to do that?
I think there's definitely a market, and I could almost...
It's a lot of money.
I'm not. There's a market. I think it's gamers with a bit more money. There is a market for something that is simply take it out of the box, plug it in. You're literally playing in 2 seconds, and you're not screwing with anything.
Sure.
But
leave it in the back of your console.
Yeah, but
sure.
Is the price difference worth that right now? Is it worth a few less minutes worth of work?
Well, if it's a $50 device, that's one thing. $150,
right?
I expect it to be the best of its type, which in this class it's not. It's the Ultra HDMI kit. But I expect it to be significantly better than the competition, and it's not.
Well, what I mean, so we had kind of mentioned this before. If the EON 64 HD was 100 and the Retro Tink was 100, I think you would still have some people who wanted to buy the EON.
Sure.
For ease. At 150, it's tough. And I don't want to sound too hard. It's a good product. It does what it's supposed to do. It was easy to use, and like I said, it looked very nice. I just don't know if the market will hold that price any longer.
Yeah, like I'm in for this Retro Tink. Like, I had no idea this was really a thing. And if it's simple, it gets latency about 53 microseconds. So that's like half of a tenth of a second. That I can still beat Mike Tyson with that. I think, but I still.
I was going to say, I hope so, because I told you that my Frame Meister had 44, and you were like, "That's not doable."
No, I didn't say that. Well, the TV adds more on top of that.
Mine is really okay.
You can never get rid of lag from a TV.
Yes,
but I'm sure the NES Classic, like the NES Classic, I can't beat Tyson on my TV. Maybe with my Samsung, but there's lag on the NES Classic. That's built into it, I believe, with the emulation, whatever else. But no, for Tyson, I think once you get over a tenth of a second, you're toast. I think that's how much it is with that, or definitely 0.2 of a second, you're done. But I think a tenth is where the cutoff is. So anyway, all right, Ian, thanks for the review. You can give me back the review whenever you want. You'll probably play it more than me because Pat's not a gamer. So when we did that topic, it was supposed to be tongue in cheek. Ian, sometimes like to punch me in the gut. On the podcast, that's fine. I can take it.
You do the same.
Yeah, that's fine. I didn't chastise you for it. I'm just saying you like to do it. You're smiling right now. Think about the next time you're going to do it. The comments were funny on the YouTube, by the way, because by the way, YouTube comments are the most clean and sensible people around.
Yes.
I don't want to talk about most of them. One person compared me to a reseller that just plays games to sell and make sure they work in something. I'm like, that's a bridge too far, but okay. This
Seems
one,
like a reach.
That's a reach. This is funny because I couldn't tell if this was a troll or true, but it's probably a combination of the two. This is from. I don't usually go after. I'm not actually going to go after this person in the comments. I'm just going to point it out. I might go after him because people think like this. This is T. Byram. Generally, gamers are people who not only play games for fun, but play games, if not on a daily basis, then at least 3 to 5 times a week. For fun, playing a game because you need to write a review of that game does not make you a gamer, even if you enjoy playing the game. Because you only play that game because you needed to write a review of that game for work purposes. So Pat, that's capitalized. So Pat, answer these questions if you want an answer. If you answer yes to at least 3 out of the 5, then you are still a gamer. Ready, Ian? This is a quiz. Number 1, do you play games 3 to 5 times a week that in no shape or form is tied to your career? Uppercase. Number 2, do you have a game/games that you play at least a few times a year, even though you have beaten the game more than twice, not just once, more than twice, because it is so fun to play? Number 3, have you beaten any game in the last month? Again, not for any kind of work purposes. Number 4, are there games that you have played in the last month just to relax? Number 5, are there games that you still consider yourself to be an expert at? Capital, expert at. By expert, I mean a game that you could pick up right now and beat the game without dying. Or if it is a racing game, then you could take first place in every single race.
I'm glad the racing game clause made it in there.
Racing game clause? So does that mean racing is not a real game genre? So Ian, by those stringent measures, could you at least hit 3 of those 5?
2.
Which 2 could you hit?
Whatever the first one was, and then
at least 3 to 5 times a week. Okay.
I mean, probably 3 to 4 times a week.
Okay, so you're gamer number 1.
Well, actually, lately, because of Mr. Driller, I have been playing every day. And then
not for a career though.
No, it's not a career.
Okay.
And then
but you're not relaxing.
For vengeance. And then I do play games to relax. Yes.
Okay, so that's 2, but you couldn't hit a 3rd. You're not a gamer.
I didn't beat a game within the past month. I am not an expert at any game.
Okay,
what was the 5th one that I missed?
Are you an expert at that you can pick up and play right now? Or if it is a racing game that you can take first place?
That's 4 and 4.5. Okay, all right, yeah. So no, I can't.
So number 1, do you play games 3 times a week? Yeah, actually, yes, because I count mobile.
Mobile counts.
So I play games every day in my mobile. Even if I'm on the toilet, that counts. If I'm playing Zynga Poker for 20 minutes in a tournament, that counts.
Start playing Pokemon Go.
No, poker, not Pokemon Go.
I'm saying you should.
Do you have a game that you play at least a few times? How much time?
That one.
How much time do you have to? Okay, a game that you've beaten at least twice that I'm going to play at least a few times a year to beat it again or play it. How much time do you have to do that? I don't know. That to me, that's kind of weird.
And I have a feeling he's not like talking retro games. Like,
but that's just.
I mean, I might beat DuckTales 3 times a year, but that's because I have.
But you have to do it at least a few times a year, and you have to have beaten it more than twice. Okay, that's weird. That's like it has to be like an NES game because a game you can play like in 20 minutes. I feel like I need
a fucking abacus to calculate whether I'm a gamer.
Like Russian Attack. Russian Attack. I had a dream about a few nights ago. I can go back and beat that game in like 20 minutes. That's one I can go back to. Are there any games that you played in the last month just to relax? Yes, I play poker to relax on my phone. I actually do, even though it's analytical. And number 5, though. Are there games you consider yourself to be an expert at? Absolutely. I'm an expert at certain games, like Contra. So according to this definition, I am a gamer because I hit 3 out of 5. I'm a gamer, internet, according to T. Byram. So there, I've worked against the system. So then I responded tongue-in-cheek, I see you pulled this definition straight from Merriam-Webster. They actually replied back, I actually pulled it straight from my ass with a wink. So... Well, that's why I couldn't tell, but there are some people that think like this, that are gatekeeping.
So many of them, in fact, that if this is a joke, I couldn't tell.
I couldn't tell if this was a joke. But I am a gamer according to this definition. So, ha, Ian, ha. I'm more a gamer than you are according to that definition. Because I am an expert, so that makes me a gamer by default.
Wear that badge proudly. Wear that badge proudly.
Okay, yeah. Absolutely. And real quick, I've been enjoying, on Amazon Prime, which everyone should have because of the cheap shipping, but they throw in video stuff. The Boys, which is a Garth Ennis graphic novel. I've watched. There's 8 episodes. I watched 4. Stars Carl Urban, who's fantastic, and everything. And I think it's been getting good reviews. I've been spoiler free. I'll try to keep this mostly spoiler free. I've only seen 4 episodes. It's been fantastic.
Yeah, Vonnie wants to watch it.
It is the best superhero deconstruction that I've ever seen on film. What is that?
I don't know.
Superman theme? What the hell was that?
It was the default The default.
Student loan call.
No.
So
Default alarm.
So The Boys is about a reality where superheroes exist, and they kind of exist. They don't explain where they get their powers from. I think they're born with them, so they're kind of mutiny in that they don't explain it.
They drink lots of milk.
Yes, they drink lots of milk. So there's definitely when I say definitely, this is heavily influenced by obviously Watchmen, which is the original sort of deconstruction, but it's done in a modern way, the deconstruction. So in this universe, Ian, there's a superhero team called the Seven that are basically owned by a corporation. So they pump out the movies, they pump out theme parks with them, toys, and everything else, but they're under basically a salary, and they're told what to do by the corporation.
Okay.
So they only save save people when they can get on camera for social media points. They're always looking at what demographics are following you. Oh, you're doing well with white people in the Midwest. Oh, you're doing good with this ethnic group, and they're always telling them about like what you should do. And on its surface, it seems insane, but the more I thought about it, that could probably be the most accurate depiction of how, if superheroes could somehow exist, that's probably what it would turn into. Corporate interests.
Someone would certainly try.
Corporate interests to not only keep you under control and pay you tons of money because you're not making millions of dollars yourself being a superhero. So someone's sponsoring you, but then telling you have to do this, you have to do that. No, you can't get involved with this. But it's done in such a, well, obviously it's funny and clever, and obviously they all have problems. So when I say it's heavily influenced by Watchmen, yeah, because they all have fucked up problems to begin with. But even the corporation's called the Vought Corporation. Veidt, Adrian Veidt, had his own corporation in Watchmen. He was sort of the corporate hero, but he ran his own business. He had his own toy, and he had his own like health things, fitness line, and things like that. So it's obviously heavily influenced. It's gory as hell in terms of the violence, because it's like, well, if a superhero existed, he can just punch a hole through your chest, and that's basically what they do.
Well, and Vonnie was telling Vonnie, I haven't read it, but Vonnie was telling me the comic book was pretty gory as well.
Yeah, it's very it's gory, like a fucking brain popping out of a guy's head, gory.
Oh,
that happens. Spoiler.
Oh, I want to watch that.
Yeah, but it's really funny. It's intelligently done. Yeah, check it out. I didn't have high expectations for it, but the Spice Girls playing on the trailer sort of sold me on it. And there is a cool little speech about the Spice Girls, because the Boys is a group of these 4 guys that come together to try to right the wrongs of the superheroes and expose them and potentially kill them. And so it's just a good show. So check it out there.